Hello and welcome to One Tech World. This session is the CEO, the home and the office, designing boundaries for sustainable leadership. My name is Sammy. I am a mum of two and I work full-time as the learning lead at Genio. We are an EdTech company and my job is to make sure that everything that we build is delivering value for students and learners. I was gratefully proud to win a Tech Women 100 award in 2023 and equally as proud to win Tech Professional of the Year at Women in Tech Awards in 2025. I describe myself as visibly parenting out loud. I do it on LinkedIn, I do it at work. I think there is a great power in being visible in how the juggle really plays out sometimes. Prior to having kids, I was a working carer, working part-time and caring part-time for a relative as well. So whatever your situation is, be it parenting or caring, hopefully there's something for you in this session. And I think I just want to caveat at the beginning that what is right for you is right. There's no one best way, there's no dream scenario, there's no magic answer to balancing work and home life. But hopefully in this session, there'll be some practical tips that I've adopted and some ideas that you might be able to take forward. But you don't have to, because whatever works for you, works for you. So this was generated by Gemini. It originally had some babies in there and some baby food, but my kids are a little bit older than that now. They're still very much in the early stages of primary school, but it is all phases. And I think it's important to recognise the phase that I'm currently in with my children. Like I said, I do work full time and I do have to be the boss at home as well, of making sure the house is running. I do have a partner and we work in a team as a co-parenting team as well. When I was planning this session, both my kids were off school ill, so that's why the medicine and the thermometers in there, because I think when the unexpected things happen, it really does throw things out of kilter. But by having strong systems in place the rest of the time, hopefully I reduce the impact that those unexpected days have on us as a family. And like I said, I work at an EdTech company, and you'll very often find me happily working in a Kanban board or with tasks on a Jira board or a Trello board or something like that. And I think that way of thinking and that systems thinking is useful to think of when we work at home as well. So I want to start with a little story that hopefully makes this presentation relatable, again generated by Gemini, this image. That is me sat working in the car. And I fortunately find myself doing this quite often. So on a particular day last year, I dropped my kids off at school at 9 a.m. and leave about 10 to 9, and normally I'm back at my desk for 9. But on this day, my son had a SEND special educational needs review meeting at 9:30 till 10. So there really wasn't any point going home to come back. So I went to work in the car from 8:50 to 9:30. 9:30, I went into the meeting. I finished at 9:55 in that meeting. I then went back to the car and did my 10 a.m. team stand-up with my team as well. And my team are very used to seeing me work in the car. Now, you can put background on, but for me, I want to be visibly parenting as well. There are choices that I have made. There are choices that have been applied in this situation. And for me, yes, I could have moved my team meeting to a different day or time, but the impact of that would have just shifted the pressure further on in the week. And there are other people to consider as well. So actually, if I can take the call in my car, lead the team, set off the sprint, do whatever it is that I'm doing in the car, it's maximizing my time. I literally left school at 9:55. I'm sat in the car leading the call at 10 a.m. Now, actually, on this day, I took the call 10 till 11, and then I took an 11 till 11:30, and 11:30 till 12. And at 12:15, my son had been selected to represent school at a local sports competition. Unfortunately, school didn't provide transport, so parents had to take them. So at 12:15, I collected my son and 3 other children, and I drove them to where the sports activity was till 12:30. Again, there was no point going home because now I'm even further away from home. So 12:30 till 2, I worked in the car taking meetings and calls. I then picked the children up, brought them back to school, handed them back to school, went back to work in the car again at 2:15 and picked the kids up at 3:15. And I worked in the car for the entire day. Now, that's not ideal, but that is the way that it made it work for me that day. It meant I could maximize my time for that day. So I just want you to have a think about, if you had a project at work, you have to deliver a report in 3 months' time about the impact your latest feature has had on its customers and the costs internally for teams, and sort of retro out the impact on teams in generating this feature. What would you do? Maybe take a moment to post in the chat how you would approach this. What systems and strategies do you use? How would you break this down? What would you view as an output, a successful output, if you were given this brief? What information are you missing? All the things you would normally apply at work. Please take a moment and share those thoughts with us. Now, like I said, I'm very often found on a Kanban board, so I would sort of look at it like this. I'd sort of define the scope, allocate some resources, do a risk assessment, set some milestones, draft a timeline of how it would all play out, break the tasks down, bring everyone in on board who were my stakeholders, get some budget approval and go buy extra things if I needed it, plan and review, feedback loop, and then move on to getting the project going. That's sort of what I do at work and how I would approach the task. Maybe a real simple view of that might be, I might brainstorm with colleagues, I might seek some experts, get some evidence, buy some additional resources if I need it, or move some allocation if I need it from somewhere else, and regular review, keep on track, just a little summary of what was on the previous slide. So that's at work. Now imagine you have the 6-week school holidays coming up and the final 6 weeks of term. Now I don't care what term it is, the final 6 weeks of term will include additional assemblies, additional performances, all sorts of different things. And when I was a working carer, the final 6 weeks of whatever it was for treatment for my relative, it would be extra hospital appointments, extra physio appointments, extra social services appointments, and all those kinds of things. So there is always a busy period, is my point. And imagine you're trying to plan out the 6 weeks holidays and the last 6 weeks of term, and you need to make sure everyone needs to know where to be and when. What would you do? And hopefully you'd follow a sort of similar structure. I ask the kids and I say, what do you want to do for the holidays? And the reason I do that is not because they have free choice. They do have some free choice. But it's more so that if there is a club that their friends are going to, I can be like, oh, right, okay, I could lift share with that parent if that's the thing that's happening. So they might have some insight. So it's worth asking them. And also it helps with stakeholder alignment, like it would do at work, asking their opinions, listening to them and considering their thoughts going forward. Then I'd seek some information. So what's the local offer? Something I didn't know as a parent is that local councils offer free holiday clubs a lot of the time for children in need who can't afford activities. So they're free for those families in need. You can also pay for those activities if you're able. So depending on your situation, the local council might be the place to go. Our local offer is 9 till 3, a series of different clubs, and a packed lunch is provided for free for children who are on free school meals, and for children who aren't, their parents can send a packed lunch as well. And it's 9 till 3, and I think I pay, you know, a token amount to pay for my kids to go to that. Also, other places I didn't know were good were sports centres. Sports centres tend to open their halls up and be like, free play for 2 hours. It costs £8 and we'll put some sports leaders in and there'll be 8 sports stations and go try different sports. Those kind of things really appeal to me, rather than the 9 till 3, because I do 9 till 3 all the time. Maybe there are places they can go for a couple of hours to break the day up. Maybe there are craft clubs. The local shop Hobbycraft to us has crafting clubs and they're like £5–6 and they're 2 hours and they're just a nice activity to do during the day. Buying in additional resources. Now you might be in a position where you want to purchase a nanny to come in for you. I'm not in that position, but for me, what I mean when I say buy in additional resources, it might be that I pay for the expensive Amazon Fresh shop and don't go to the supermarket. Like I'll spend 10 minutes putting everything into the basket and that'll be it done, rather than me driving 15 minutes to the supermarket, doing the shop, 15 minutes back, and then having to put it all away and trying to squeeze that time in. So buy additional resources where I can, like take the shortcuts. And also, can I buy an extra after school session? And the reason I do that in the last 6 weeks of term is, like I said, there's always an assembly, there's always a performance, there's always a club, there's always a reason I'm needed during school time in school in those last 6 weeks. So if I buy an extra after school club, that buys me that time back so I can be working in that time as well. And then regular review and keep on track and keep everyone aligned. And I think that's really important to do at home as well. Again, generated by Gemini, but because I do love a Kanban board, the chores live on a Kanban board and they are age appropriate for my kids. What's to do, who's taking it, and is it done? And they move it along and they're rewarded, obviously, for doing that. But there is an expectation that those get done. Similarly, meals are also mapped out, and similarly kids clubs and activities are also mapped out. And what I call this is my single source of truth. And if I was project planning at work, I would have a single source of truth, perhaps my pane of glass on the front of my project plan, whatever it might be is my single source of truth. And I operate like that at home. I have a single source of truth. So I use a list like this, and when I think about stakeholder alignment at work, you want to bring their opinions in, make sure they've felt heard and validated, present information, give them options. And I do that with my kids. Like, look, there are these lists of chores that need to be done. These are age appropriate that someone has decided externally for you, and I just found this online. The credit to it is at the bottom on here. And I say to my kids, right, which of these are you going to pick up for me? And let's work together and come up with a plan. And both ways, what I'm doing here is I'm making the invisible visible. So I'm making the invisible planning of the 6-week summer holidays visible to my kids. I'm making the chores visible to my kids. You know, when I was caring, I would make the invisible coordinating of appointments visible by having a single source of truth calendar for the carers coming in and the medical appointments as well. It's about sharing the load, the mental load, by making it visible so that people can understand, whoever's in your team, whoever's in your corner, be it your family, your kids, the person you're caring for, they can share that load, they can share that understanding, and they can share that, okay, right, so this has gone into this is the level of planning, and this is what we need to do to action it. And do you know what? There might be a way I can help. So this is my work calendar every single week. And you'll see at the bottom the kids clubs. I've invited myself from my personal calendar to my work calendar. And I haven't accepted in my work calendar, and I'll only accept them if I'm taking them on. But I'm making the invisible visible. So I'm making it visible to my colleagues that I don't get as much downtime as you do. And also there are these times where someone is looking after my kids, be that me, my husband, or a friend picking them up, whatever it is. And at these times I might be needed. Now, sometimes people, you know, I've seen people finish at 3 and say no meetings after 3. That didn't work for me because I just found I was working on a laptop till really late at night, working back those hours. But my husband and I will sit down and I'll say, right, I'll take golf and I'll take football training. You'll see Tuesdays we have pubs and swimming. We both have to do those. So, you know, there's no negotiation on that one. But you can see on Monday that I have a one-to-one that clashes with the golf lesson. So actually it's a conversation of, I can't take the golf lesson. I have a work meeting. I'll take the performing arts club at 4. And I'll, you know, flexibly work later on in my day to work that up. But again, I'm making the invisible visible. I'm sharing in my work calendar all the things. And plus it just helps me have clarity of that single source of truth of where does everyone need to be and when. But like I always say, what is right for you is right. So this works for me, it might work for you, it might not. Like I say, I tried the no meetings after 3 p.m. That didn't work for me, but there are things you can consider. So I think my main point is make it visible. And at work, ask for flexibility, but offer solutions. So very recently, I had to go to a performance of my kid at school. And I could have said, hi, please can I have 2 till 3 off on Thursday, just so I can go see my son's performance. Instead, I offered a solution and said, my son's performance is 2 till 3. I'll be able to take the 1 till 2 call in the car. I'll go in, watch the performance, and then I'll catch up later on. I'll work an hour later in the evening. Are you okay with this? And I'm not asking for permission, I'm saying, are you okay with this? And I think that's a very different thing. Sometimes with my kids, their medical appointments are in school time, and our policy at work is you should work flexibly or take annual leave or unpaid carers leave. Those are the options. And it's a bit of a grey area of the flexibility sometimes. And my kids have a lot of medical appointments, so I don't want to be the person that's never here. So what I say to my boss is, right, here are the options, here are the solutions. I can take annual leave to take my son to this medical appointment. However, that will mean that in the half-term period coming up, I will be working from the car for half a day. If you're okay with that, that's a solution we can do. Or I can work flexibly and work this evening to catch up by taking them to the medical appointment. Which would you prefer? And I've offered a solution. I'm not asking, I'm not telling, we're working together and I'm offering solutions. So like I say, make afternoons meetings free and block out travel time. So if you've got a commitment to be in the office a certain number of days a week, so say my commitment is 2 days a week in the office, what I might do is I might go in 3 days, but work 9:30 till 2:30. And that way I've done my commitment of being in the office, but I've still done drop off and pick up and all those things that I need to do. And I block out the travel time. And very often that is my dinner break. I do appreciate that. But, a bit of organising preparation means that I can just maximise my time and blitz through things. But I would encourage you when you're making things visible to influence policy. Like I said, at my work, the dependent leave policy is sometimes you can work flexibly, sometimes you take it unpaid, sometimes you can use annual leave. So, how can I influence that policy to make it really clear of what's expected and what's not expected and have those conversations? And I would always say, if you have employee voice groups, employee resource groups in your organisation, do you have a working parents one? Because those working parents really need to be at the table to have those discussions as well. And just a real practical example of what happens, I will make my kids a healthy, nutritious packed lunch, put it in the car, pick them up from school and take them to their activities. And that will be their tea and that will be our family meal, and that's okay. We're having quality time, there's no music on, we're talking, we're having conversations in the car, they're telling me about their day, they're eating a healthy food. Now, sometimes I might not be able to make it as healthy as I would like. I'll buy in that additional resource and I'll buy something else that makes it easier for me. Maybe it's a sausage roll or something like that. But we're still spending that quality time together. And it's about giving yourself that break and that credit that this is still an okay way. They're going to their activities that they really want to do. They really want to be footballers and they really want to do these things. And the best way for us to maximize that time is to eat a packed lunch in the car. And so it comes back to this point of what's right for you is right. Like, this works for me and my family, and hopefully it inspires you as well. Other things that I do is I blitz massive batches of tomato sauce with vegetables in and put it in Tupperwares, and the second I need a quick tea, I can just boil some pasta, warm up the sauce, and they've got really healthy pasta sauce. And all those things make a difference. All those things make me feel happier at home and at work, that I know in an emergency there is a healthy, nutritious meal for my kids that is available that I've homemade. I didn't make it today, but it is homemade. And it's about what's right for you is right, and that's worked for us as a family. So my top tips as we come to wrap up: if you work to a single source of truth at work, work to a single source of truth at home. Single source of truth of your meals, of your clubs, of your play dates. Have that documented. Where is it? Who has eyes on it? Think about your stakeholder management like you would at work. And make the invisible visible at home and at work. Where are the chores that need to be done? Where are the planning for the pickups and the drop-offs to get them to football training at 6 p.m? And I will say no to plan changes to my kids. Can Ethan come for tea on Thursday? No. Thursday's not a good day for us. Sorry, no. And that's really hard, but because we've made it visible, we can sort of say, look, the reason it's not okay is because Thursday we have this activity, and this needs to be done, and mummy's working. That's mummy's late day in the office or whatever it is. It's about that managing expectations, like you would manage stakeholders as well. And use your network. At work, you might use your network to bring in external expertise. Use your network at home. Who's the mum that knows what day the costumes need to be in? Who's the dad that knows what time the football match starts? Who's the dad that knows where the dance club meets? Who's the mum that knows where the rugby training is? All those things. Use your network, ask the questions in the group chat, be the person that asks the questions in the group chat, because you just need to know. And I think it's important to say that it's unlikely you're going to be judged for that. Like, you just need to know the information. Sure, it's available somewhere else, but you just need to know it now. And buy in help when needed. So if there is a costume needed, buy the expensive one off Amazon. Save yourself the trip to the shop if you feel that that's going to help you. Buy in what will help in that situation. might be buying the expensive food shop, it might be buying the costume online rather than shopping in, but you would do it at work. You would allocate resources to where you need to. And if you had to buy in something that was more expensive to solve a challenge at work, you absolutely would. And a packed lunch in the car is okay for tea. I think that's just important to say that. And hopefully what I've left you with here is what's right for you is right. I wish you every success finding the balance of working and juggling whatever it is in your home life that you're trying to juggle. And I hope you have a wonderful day here at One Tech World. Thank you.